Hello guys and welcome to the fourth live eviction. It's Noki, Dylan, Paul and Trish all up for the public vote. Who went? Well, let's just say it was a very satisfying result, and I think the majority of people that have sense in their brain wanted this result to happen. Before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you guys for the overwhelming support. It's been great on these videos, and I just want you guys to know that you are amazing and that you're really making my day with all the comments and the likes and the subscribing that you're doing. So please keep that up. It lets me know that I'm doing a great job, and it also sort of motivates me to do more of these videos. I don't plan on stopping for the rest of the series, and I've got some other reality shows that I'm thinking of starting up as well. I'm also doing Survivor as well, so if you like Survivor, make sure to check out my recap videos. There'll be a brand new video of that out tomorrow, so make sure to check that out as well. Okay, let's jump straight into the episode, and it was very telling when AJ and Will were doing their little introduction that the boys were getting booed and the girls were getting cheered, which I gotta say is a very satisfying feeling, especially when we've been waiting for Dylan to leave the house and we've now decided that Paul is public enemy number one. Was Kerry for a couple of weeks, but I think people have realised that she's a panto villain. She's not the villain of the series. So, yeah, it only took them a while. I've been saying it since the start, but it's fine. People come around and listen to me eventually. Speaking of Trish, she said something very interesting about how people feel like she's a villain, and she said people often think that I'm a villain, but really I'm just the loud one that's in front of the villain and they're actually right behind me. And I think that's a perfect demonstration of exactly what happened in this episode. Noki also spoke about how she feels like she puts up a guard because she doesn't trust people and she thinks people are going to leave her. And I think that that is kind of an explanation that I've been wanting from her regarding why she seems so sort of closed off and doesn't want to open herself up to anyone. And I think that's majorly because she has this sort of almost like fear of rejection. And so I feel like this week has done Noki wonders, because the first 3 weeks I was kind of like, she's a bit boring. She doesn't really add much to the house. But this week, I feel like she's really come into her own. She's found her group of friends. Let's be honest. She's gotten in with the good guys, and I think that she's finally starting to show her true nature. And I'm really starting to enjoy her a lot. Henry spoke to Trish about Jordan and asked Trish to speak to Jordan, and then Trish did speak to Jordan, and Jordan was basically like, "Oh, I just thought that was like a thing that friends do." And I was sitting there like, "What, you thought that kissing each other on the lips was just something that friends do?" It's like, "What?" And then he was like, "Well, you and Yinran, like, she lies on your lap and you stroke her hair." And she was like, "Yes, but we are both straight. You and Henry are not. And therefore, that complicates things because that means there is a level of attraction there. With me and Yinran, there's no attraction because we're both straight." So, like, Trish was just spitting facts, and it was so satisfying to hear her sort of tell Jordan how it is. But then, I'm a bit confused because he went down to Henry and he was like, "Oh, I just, oh no, he said to Trish, I thought we were just good friends," and I was like, "Oh no, so it is unrequited love." So you've just been calling him your husband for the last 3 weeks and you don't actually have any feelings for him. Oh no. Oh, that complicates things massively. Oh no. But also, this man cannot let Matty go. Like, I saw him spend more time with Matty in this episode than I did with Henry. So, I don't know whether that's just the stupid editing or whether that is actually what's happening in the house. Oh, it's so difficult to be on board with this love triangle when it's constantly disappointing me. Yinran had a hilarious secret task, and she had to go up to 3 different housemates and cry in front of them, get them to console her, and even make one of her other housemates cry. And she went a little bit overboard. She started with Henry, and then Noki joined, so technically she got 2 for 1 there. Then she went to go talk to Dylan. God knows why, but it worked. Then she went to Jordan, and Jordan just stood there like, am I meant to feel something? And then he even called her out and was like, are you on some secret crying task for Big Brother? And I was like, no way has he just called it out like that immediately. And then she spoke to Trish and managed to get Trish to cry with her, complimenting her about how good a mum she is. And oh, it was really, really beautiful to see. And then when she was told that she was getting a Yinran party, which was essentially a party in her favour, and she got to choose the guest list. And I gotta be honest, I think she did the guest list in the most sort of in the nicest way possible. Everyone who got sort of a punishment yesterday was invited to the party. So Tom, Chanel, Jenkin, Dylan, who else? Trish, and who was that last person? Noki. Those 6 and Yinran were invited to the party, whereas like the other, the rest of the housemates, I think there's 5 of them. Yeah, were sat upstairs, which was Henry, Jordan, Matty, Paul, and Olivia, and they were sat upstairs away from everyone else. And I gotta say, that was where the drama started. The party itself was a bit dead once the music stopped, because obviously there's only 7 people and they kept on going between the outside and the inside. And then there were loads of cocktails which looked really, really nice. But then Paul just started acting really like a dickhead, and it was really uncomfortable to watch because he looked like a soap villain. He had the hood up. He was like, and I was just like, why are you brooding? Why are you getting upset that you haven't been invited to a party? It's not that deep. You can still hear the music upstairs. Just party upstairs. Why are you making it difficult for everyone? Then he starts like getting some cling film and chucking bits of cling film down. And then once people have like dispersed, he goes downstairs and like takes 2 of the cocktails and puts them by the sink, and then turns to Jenkin and goes, I want to play a game, or do you want to play a game? And I was like, who is this jigsaw motherfucker? Get off my screen. You're actually wasting my time. Oh my god, you're so annoying. And then Jenkins like, you're childish, you're this, you're that, walks off. And I thought, good on Jenkin for calling it out, calling a spade, because you are a dickhead, you are being childish. Don't throw people's cocktails away just because you didn't get invited. Fuck off. Actually get a life. And then when he's going back upstairs, Noki's just looking at him like, what the fuck? And he's like, what are you looking at? And she just goes, you. And then he just calls her strange, and then goes back in. That's his favourite phrase, by the way, is calling people strange. Strange! Strange! He's got a horrible accent. Ugh. Every time it comes on screen, I need subtitles, because I'm like, I don't hate the Liverpool accent. I just hate how thick it is, because like I actually can't understand him sometimes, especially when he goes on like a ramble. I'm like, I had to ask my friend to turn on some form of subtitles, and there were none. So like, thank God he's left. When Trish came back, she found out obviously that he'd been pissing Noki off, and so he just started calling calling him a bully. Like, you're a bully, you're a bully, and it was very, very entertaining to watch. I gotta say, it was the comeuppance that I think he needed, because he's been bullying Noki for a while now. Like, it's been going under the radar because there are other bigger problems at fault. However, it should be noted that he's being really nasty to Noki. And then Trish called it out, and I thought, yes, go on, Trish. And then there was one point where he's like shouting at her, and she's shouting back, but she's doing the limbo while she's doing it. And I just thought, how iconic can you possibly be that you just start limboing while calling someone a bully? That's so funny, because that means that you just don't care about this conversation, but like clearly this other person cares a lot. And like he was like, I don't understand why you're calling me a bully, but like every other person in the house knows exactly why he's being called a bully, because of the way he's treating Noki, because of the way he's treating some other people in the house. Go figure. Go figure. Because I'm not being funny. The only other person that I think doesn't see it is Olivia and potentially Tom. And Olivia was just spitting poison in the bedroom, which, I'm not being funny, is not doing her any favours. I genuinely think that the fact that she's gone from being the most hated housemate to one of the most beloved to one of the most hated once again is such a wild journey for her in this house. And I'm gutted because I really did want her in my final six, but now I want her out next week. I want her to go ASAP because what the fuck? She was vile in this episode, and I really didn't enjoy the bitterness and the poison that she was spitting. Okay, it's time to talk about the eviction. And obviously the crowds made their feelings known. Noki and Trish felt heart-warmed and overwhelmed with emotion when they heard the cheers, and then the boys kind of knew they were going by the boos. It was still, I gotta say, up until the moment that they announced the names, I was worried Trish was going, but I'm very, very grateful that Paul and Dylan were the housemates evicted. Paul was first, Dylan was next, so that means that Paul received the most votes, Dylan received the second amount of votes, so fifth and sixth eliminated or evicted, respectively. Let's talk about Paul a little bit first. The first thing he said was he doesn't know why he was booed. I thought that AJ and Will were quite easy on him, but also I felt like watching at home, I was very aware that they were being veiled with their sort of, with the way that they were sort of trashing him essentially. Like there was a couple of comments for both him and Dylan that really made me like chuckle, and I had to rewind because I was like, no way did he just say that. And there were a couple of times when Will was looking back at the audience and pulling a face. So like, I get that they are kind of trying to be professional and maintain that like sort of they're impartial, but obviously they do have opinions. So give them. Like I said, Will did call Paul out for his like sort of behaviour, and AJ also brought up the fact that one of his mates thought that Paul had taken things too far, which was interesting actually because I don't quite know when that was because I've been dipping in and out of late and live, so I can't remember when that was, but still that's a very, very interesting and damning statement. Another thing I noticed was his girlfriend either has a resting bitch face or was just pissed off with him, and the fact that when his interview ended she didn't stand up and go and hug him, I think is quite damning, if I'm being honest. It's quite pointed. I have a feeling he will not have a girlfriend in the coming days, or if he does, he's got some grovelling to do, because they even brought up the whole Olivia situation and he went, oh, he's just good friends or something like that. Just good friends, have loads of female friends. And I was just like, oh my goodness. That's not an excuse for how you've been behaving in the house. And if that's how you behave with your like female friends, like someone needs to check your behavior, because you're telling me that when she's dancing you're almost biting your lip and looking her up and down. Yeah, it's tough, but he's gone. And then he started spouting loads of shit about how him, Trish, and Noki have loads in common. And I thought, no, they don't have anything in common with you. You're very different people, and that's why you've been kicked out of the house. Because they're nice people, you're not. Doubt, I really didn't think I'd get this heated about a contestant on this show. I was really trying to remain impartial, but like, damn. Ugh. Also, did we need a farting montage of Paul? The answer to that is no. No, we did not. Dylan's interview I had less notes on because I feel like he was very apologetic from the outset. He came out and he was like, I didn't expect the booze, but clearly I've done something wrong. Like, I don't know what I've done, but I'm sorry. I'm assuming it's the argument, which, let's face it, it was the argument. It's a shame because, like he said, he had one big bad moment and then that's kind of been it. he's not redeemed himself. He redeemed himself in this interview, I think, because he apologized straight away. He acknowledged his behavior was wrong, and he said that he has had those conversations with the people he hurt, and he jumped to conclusions, and he just lost his cool, and that's not okay. And so I feel like I can forgive Dylan because he made those mistakes and he owned up to them, which I think was very noble of him. He also brought up the fact that after Zach left in the house, things changed, and sort of the dynamic fell off to him, and that's when he started to not necessarily enjoy the situation as much as he was. Aside from that, they had a really funny montage of him just cooking, which was quite funny. And he acknowledged the fact that, like, cooking was his escape in the house. It sort of kept his mind focused on something. And I kind of agree with him. Like, we've clowned on him for always doing the cooking, but like, if that's what's getting you through this experience, fair enough. There were a few iconic moments that I'm just gonna whiz through because there weren't any sort of big moments. Yinren farted at the start of the episode, which was quite funny, and it just really did make me chuckle. It just came out of nowhere, and they always do this thing at the start where they just include a random funny clip in the middle of like the morning montage. So that was your funny clip for the episode. Chanel had a bad dream about someone she'd been on a date with blocking her and then blocking her again on Instagram or Facebook or something. I don't know. It was a bit of a confusing bad dream, but she said it's the first time that she's dreamed in the house, which is quite interesting to hear. Talking of Chanel, I don't know what is going on in her brain, but I think she is genuinely just a bit thick. Um, she was talking about like pamper nights, and she was like, "Oh, a Cleopatra night," and I was like, "What do you mean a Cleopatra night?" And she was like, "That's what they call it, isn't it?" And I was like, "What?" And then she was like, "Is Cleopatra still alive?" And I was like, "What? What? What?" She's an Egyptian. To be fair, Olivia called her an Egyptian goddess. She wasn't. She was a pharaoh. But at least Olivia had some kind of idea who this person was. Whereas Chanel was like, "Oh, is she still alive? I don't know." And I was like, "What do you mean you don't know? What are you on about? That's crazy. What do you mean you think Cleopatra's still alive?" And then Jenkins confused matters because he was like, "Oh, Katy Perry went as Cleopatra." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, fair enough." Oh, is she still alive then? What? Oh, tough. It's tough. It's tough watching Chanel sometimes because I think you're actually really thick. There was a little bit of a feud between Matty and Jordan when they were talking about X. Um, I think Jordan mentioned that he finds it an ick when people prefer still water to sparkling water. And Matty was like, "No, my ick is people drinking sparkling water." And then Jordan was like, "Well, my ick is people wearing vest tops." And Matty was like, "I wear vest tops." And he was like, it was just quite funny. Sparkling water's great. I like it. I know some people don't enjoy it, but like, it's just nice and refreshing sometimes. So thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I will see you guys in a couple of days' time. My next episode will be late. I won't be posting anything on Monday, but I'll be back on Tuesday, hopefully with 2 episodes. If not, there'll be 2 episodes on Wednesday, and I will see you guys later. Keep on ranting. Bye now.